All right, guys, in our next lesson, now we're going to be moving on to how to find the volume of 3D figures. So this first lesson, we're going to be focusing on finding the volume of prisms and cylinders. So the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about rectangular prisms or cubes. Volume is the space that's in between the shape, kind of like if you were to fill this box with like water. The volume represents how much water is inside of the shape. So volume, which is V, equals L times W times H. Now this is for rectangular prisms. All the other prisms has its own formula. We'll get to that here in a minute. L is length, W is width, and H is height. So now, of course, the rectangular prisms or cubes are going to be the easiest type of prism to find the volume form. All we're doing is just multiplying the three dimensions together. So once again, when it comes to the rectangular prisms, it doesn't matter which one is the length, the width, and the height, as long as you designate each part of the figure to be one or the other. So I'm going to say this is length, this is width, and this is height. Okay, so L equals 9, H equals 24, and W equals 17. So the formula is just multiplying these three numbers together. So V equals 9 times 17 times 24. Okay, so all we're doing is just multiplying those numbers together. 9 times 17 times 24, just like so. Press enter, and there it is, 3,672. So volume is equal to 3,672. It's centimeters, so centimeters cubed. So the cubed means it's three dimensions. All right, number two, same thing. It doesn't matter which one's which as long as you label them both one each. This will be L, this will be W, this will be H. So volume is going to equal these three numbers being multiplied. 10 times 14 times 4.5. 10 times 14 times 4.5. That gives me 630. So volume is equal to 630. These are inches, so inches cubed. All right, then finally, this is my L, my W, my H. And once again, all you're going to do is multiply those three numbers together. So volume equals 8 times 12 times 39. Press enter. That gives me 3,744. And this is feet, so feet cubed. All right, so like I said, very simple for the rectangular prisms. It's just multiplying the three dimensions together. Now, the one that is a little tricky, but not too much tricky, are all of the other prisms. So this is going back to like the triangular prisms, the trapezoidal prisms, the hexagonal prisms, pentagonal prisms, and so forth. You have to get big B again, which is the area of the base, times H, which is the height of the figure. So remember, the height is the distance between the two bases. So if right here, this base is a triangle, so base, all we have to do is get the area of the triangle, multiply it by H, okay? Volume equals base times height. So first, look at this figure. This is a triangle. So the first thing I'm going to get is I'm going to get the area of the triangle. So right here, remember, so for triangle, big base is going to equal 1/2 base times height. That's the formula for the triangle. So the height of the triangle is this 7.3. Let me zoom in a little bit. It's this 7.3 because it makes the right angle. The right angle hits this line right here, which is the measure of 12. So your big base is going to equal 1/2 times the base, which is 12, times the height, which is 7.3. So 1/2 times 12 times 7.3. So that gives me 43.8. So that's what big B is. Big B is 43.8. All right, next we want the height. So we're using this formula, height. Now the height is the distance between the two triangles. So this triangle right here, and then this back triangle right here. All right, so the distance between them are these lines right here. This line, and this line. So all three of these lines are 5. So the height is 5. So H is 5. All right, so therefore volume is B times H. So volume is equal to base, which is that 43.8 times the height, which is 5. And that gives me 219. So 219, and it's feet, so it's feet cubed. Feet cubed. All right. Next one, number 5. It's another triangular prism. So first let's get the base. So big B, it's a triangle again, so I'm doing 1/2 base times height. So just focusing on the triangle. So right here, this line right here to the right angle, the 5.4, that's the height of the triangle. And it connects to this side of the triangle, which is 11, so this is the base. So big B is equal to 1/2 times the base, which is 11, times the height, which is 5.4. So all right, so that gives me 29.7. So big B is 29.7. All right, now the height, the H right here is the height of the prism. So this is one triangle right here. So all the lengths between the two triangles are this length, and this length. Those are the height. So all three of these are 16. So H is 16. So please don't get this height confused with this height. This height is the height of the triangle, which is the 5.4. This height is the height of the prism, which is how far apart the two triangles are. So volume is going to equal base times height. So 29.7 times height, which is 16. Which is 475.2. And these are millimeters. Oh, this one says inches. I guess this is a typo. So yeah, they should all be millimeters. So it's millimeters cubed. I'm doing on time. I'm still good. All right. The last one on the bottom of this page. All right. So now this is a trapezoidal prism. Okay. So the bases are these trapezoids right here, and then the height is the distance between the trapezoids. All right. So first, let's get the base. So it's a trapezoid. So the trapezoid formula is 1/2 times the height times the two bases being added together, the bases of the trapezoid, B1 and B2. So let's focus on the trapezoid. So the height of the trapezoid is always a right angle, which is this length right here. So the 17.9 is the H right here. And then the two bases that are connected by that line are the 14 and the 36. So yeah, this 36 is blank, but these two are the same, so this one's also 36. So base equals 1/2 times the height, which is that 17.9, times base 1, which is 14, plus base 2, which is 36. All right, so that gives me 447.5. So that's big B. All right, now for H, remember H is the distance between the two trapezoids. So the distance between the two trapezoids are here, 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 and here. So all four of these lines are the height, so this one is 25. All right, so then my formula for volume is base times height. So that 447.5 times 25. And that gives me 11,187.5. So if you get big numbers like this, don't freak out. And these are meters, so meters cubed. Okay, so we'll do the remaining examples on the next video. All right, guys, so continuing on, we're still looking at the volume of prisms and cylinders. So the next two examples are prisms, so we are going to have to use this formula right here. The volume equals big B, base area of the base, times the height between the bases. So I'll write the formula right here, V equals big B times H. Okay, so for number 7, excuse me, you have a triangular prism, okay? So the first thing we need to do is get the area of the base. So it's a triangle again, so we're going to do 1/2 base times height. So looking at just the triangle, so right here, here's the height, and then the base that it connects to is this length right here. But notice that those lengths right there are both blank. Because they are both blank, we are going to have to do Pythagorean theorem to find it. So just kind of do. So this 32.5 is the hypotenuse. So it's going to be the square root of 32.5 squared minus that 28 squared. That'll get me the length of the base. There it is. That gives me 16.5. So what that means is that this length right here is 16.5. So that's my base. Okay, so big B equals 1/2 times my base, which is the 16.5 I found doing Pythagorean theorem, and the height of this triangle, which is 28. And that gives me 231. So big B is 231. All right, so remember now H, the height of the prism, is the distance between the two triangles. So that's this line, and this line right there. Okay, so those are all three of them are 31. So there's your height. So therefore the formula, volume equals big B, which is that 231 times 31, the height. That gives me 7,161. And these are all kilometers, so kilometers cubed. All right. Then finally, the last example. So this is a trapezoidal prism. So unfortunately for this one, we are going to have to do Pythagorean theorem again. I'm gonna draw the trapezoid over here so you guys can see what it is that I need to do. There you go. So one part of the trapezoid is 25. The other part of the trapezoid is 39.4. And then I have this slant part right here, which is the 30.6. All right, so now what I don't have is I don't have the height, which is where the the right angles meet. So, let's call that x. So what I need to do again is, kind of did this back when we did the trapezoids. I kind of have to create this line right here, and what it does is it creates a right triangle right here. So I need to get this distance right here, this little sliver right here. So now this part is 25. So what I have to do is I have to take 25 and I have to subtract 25 from that 39.4, which gives me 14.4. So this is 14.4. And so then here's my right triangle right here with the 30.6 and the 14.4. Doing Pythagorean theorem, I'm going to subtract 30.6 squared minus that 14.4 squared. And that gives me 27. So that means that this length right here is 27, which means this length right here is also 27. So the height of the trapezoid is 27. Okay, so it is a trapezoid, so we're doing 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. So big B is 1/2 times the height, which is that 27 I got using Pythagorean theorem, times the two bases, which the two bases are the 25 and the 39.4. There we go. So 1/2 times 27 times 25 plus 39.4. Press enter. And that gives me 869.4. So big B is 869.4. All right, then H, the height of the prism, is the length between the two trapezoid, which is this line, this line, this line, and this line right there. So all those are 35. So volume equals base, which is the 869.4, times the height, which is the 35. Yeah, so I got another big number, so 30,429. And those are centimeters, so centimeters cubed. Okay. All right, now the cylinders are definitely going to be the easiest out of the prisms, okay? Well, besides the rectangular prisms, honestly. Okay, but so for cylinders, volume is equal to pi r squared times h, which r is the radius and h is the height. So it's kind of similar to the surface area formula, where all you need is radius and height. So looking at this, here's my radius, here's my height, because this is the distance between the two circles. So volume is equal to pi, r is 18, so 18 squared, times the height, which is the 15. So I mean, you can put the decimal or the multiplication point if you want to, or you can put in parentheses. I mean, it doesn't matter. So pi 18 squared times 15, and there it is. Let me just make sure my answer is correct. Yeah, it is. 15,268. So for these, we'll round to the nearest hundred, so it'll be 0.14. So volume equals 15,268.14. So these are inches, so inches cubed. All right, then the last example. I'm gonna skip these application ones. I'm just gonna focus on the regular kind to try to limit the number of videos. All right, so right here, this 21, this is the height. So this is my h. Now this 11 is a diameter, which means I need to cut it in half to get the radius. So 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. So the radius is 5.5, so this is my r. So now just plug it into the formula. So volume equals pi r squared, which is the 5.5 squared, times the height, which is the 21. So pi 5.5 squared times 21, and there it is, 1995.69, which that'll round up to 0.7. And these are meters, so meters cubed. And there you go. Very simple. Just plugging in to finding your volume. So now, of course, there are going to be some cases where you have to do Pythagorean theorem, like these two. So make sure you're aware of those.